Yo, I am very unprepared for today. Very, but we'll get into it. We'll see what the day has in store for us. I'm thinking of just doing like a surprise topic. Like, I want to surprise myself, think of what is the most important thing right now. And I haven't started streaming. I'm going to start streaming in like 1 second. I think what's the most important thing to me? Not to me, but like just something that's cool that I can talk about right now. And then I'll go for it. Okay? I'm gonna go live now. And what would I call this? I'll just say surprise topic. Right, that's what I'll call it, just surprise topic. Yeah, the stream is live. Okay. Firstly, before we get into it, let's see what I spoke about the other day. Let me remind myself a little bit. So about like books and how I learn and understand stuff. So we're gonna explore like my mind and where it's at. We're not gonna explore my mind and where it's at, but we're gonna use it as a tool to discuss what topic. What do I have in mind right now? That would flow. How about I'm thinking either fear or doubt. You see, I don't want to hide anything. I want exactly what's in here to just come out. Right? I'm thinking either fear or doubt. And I don't have my lip balm. Oof. Okay. Either fear or doubt. Which one should I pick? And I haven't been doing anything on my disk. I haven't been typing anything. So I think tomorrow evening I'll just go back over everything and get my Discord up to date. Because that's where the bulk of what we're saying is. I don't want to put any extra in there that I don't discuss live because that's against the whole point. So I need the after stream routine. Right now is literally just post YouTube videos because I don't want this to be like too, time consuming. Whatever the case may be, just vibey. I don't speak like that. I don't know why I'm saying that. Okay. Fear or doubt? To just pick one. Because I still know about I need to do more on AI and then on the future as well, right? But this is gonna be sort of a surprise topic because I change my mind sometimes. Well, looking at this, I did cover, I guess, a decent bit of how I exposed myself to it the other day. Well, when I did yesterday, yeah, I discussed quite a bit about how I exposed myself to AI. So I'm going to save this. I'm just gonna say knowledge. Gathering. And then I'll reset. Okay. Let's do fear. I just picked fear. Right? How could I talk about fear? And to be honest, today I'm going to go on Twitch and actually change um my stream manager to actually say what the topic is. Okay, fear. Right? Let's say and this one I think I'm very not knowledgeable. This is just what I think I know about fear, right? And I'm probably gonna look at what I guess what information there is online today to sort of back up the point. Just give me 1 second. Let me change the title of this. Boom, 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 boom. No, it's hard. How do you change the title of your Twitch stream? It's kind of tough. Oh, edit. Okay, I'm gonna say topic, surprise topic. I'm gonna put fear. All right, we're discussing fear. Okay, right. What is fear? And I don't care. I'm not looking at any definitions. I'm just going to allow myself to think what I know about it, and then after we can sort of go into definitions, and you guys can do your own research and come back and tell me I'm dumb after. I don't care. But this is just what I think, right? And trust me, you might look at my streams and think this is just like there is no sort of there's no connection to any of these. These are just like random. But trust me, there's going to be a point where everything that I'm talking about comes together. But this slow process, this has to come, right? So okay, I'm sorry guys. I'm sorry. I got OBS and I really wanted to get rid of that. I got OBS, right? I'll even show you. Right. Okay. If you look at this, you can see I have OBS, right? But the thing about this is that I just haven't set it up properly. I haven't set it up properly. When I set this up properly, I'm gonna start using OBS. I think the quality of OBS is even better than this one, than my one here. So when I get this set up, I'll start using it, and it wouldn't show this thing. Wait 1 second. Wait for it. Yeah, it wouldn't show that. So when I get that going, you'll see. But right, that's a different note. Okay, don't worry. I'm not being fake. I'm actually trying to get things working. Okay. Right. So fear. How do you define fear? Actually, it's not that simple. Like without using sort of synonyms, right? You can say, um, someone being scared or this, but that's a synonym. That's just another word that represents the same thing, right? Now, how do you define it without using synonyms? So, fear. When you're scared, when is actually let me actually put that in. Let's go to the drawing board. Let's put synonym, but let's put fear. Let's just put scared. Oh, okay, it is there. All right, let's put fear and scared. Let's just put that there. Just have that there. Right. What's the difference between these two? To be, well, I guess this is more akin to afraid. Right. than scared? Or are they just the same thing? Or is it just different tenses? Like, I fear you is present. I'm afraid. That's also present, so it can't be the same. Scare. Okay, scare. Scare is an action, right? Fear. Could fear be an action? Oh, sorry. Like, scare is a verb, to scare. And to, yeah, it's also a verb. And then this would be to be afraid. So are they just all synonyms? Are they? I don't know. But they're all words that sort of mean similar things. Right? So I don't think there's have fear of, I'm afraid of. I think these are literally just interchangeable. But these, I'm not so sure. To have fear and to be scared. Let's make things up. It doesn't matter. We're doing whatever. Okay. To be scared, it relates to something, and to have fear of something. I would say this is more of a feeling towards the way something looks. Looks. But this is more fight or flight. Right, but they're still the same thing, right? If something looks scary, then you fear it, right? But I think fear it's a stronger verb than scared. To be scared. Yeah, I think fear is stronger. Fear is a lot more. I might, and the thing is, I might search this up and it might be like, oh, no, they're the same thing. But we're gonna sort of come to that first. Okay, so I'm gonna take fear. I'm just going to take fear as a more fight or flight thing, right? As a fight or flight thing. Okay, so fight or flight. What are people generally afraid of or scared of? No, no. I think they're the same. I think they're the same. I think I'm just making things up. Okay, that's fine. You said that. Okay, what are people generally scared of? What are people generally afraid of? What are people generally fear? All these they all mean the same thing. That's what I'm concluding on now, right? But that um feeling of fear, right? Is it good or bad? Right? It's an it's a reflex action. So it's caused by an external force, right? It can be revoked or it can consume. Right? So you can what's the word? You can like not hide. You're not hiding your fear. You can suppress it, right? It can be suppressed, I would say, instead of revoked. Right? And it can also consume you, right? That's more like um okay, if you suppress it, that's something. What's upload or suppress? Yeah, probably consume. Right? Yeah, so that's fine. You just point it back. Okay. You can either suppress fear or it can consume you, right? Because I'm taking them more on the lines of like a reflex action based on something, right? Now let's what are those types of things? What are those types of like what sort of brings about fear? And is fear a good thing to have, right? Fear, let's write this down. Fear is kind of like it happens in all sorts of circumstances, right? But you can group a couple together. You can group some circumstance together as like, and give them a. I told you I'm going to pause a lot because I'm genuinely thinking how can I sort of phrase this right for things that would make someone fear, right? It can be all sorts. It's very very vague. It's there's a lot, right? But with this sort of vast area of things that can make people sort of become scared or afraid, there are ways to group these, right? So if I'm thinking, how do you group these external forces that make someone afraid? Now let's put them as categories. Okay, so let's say let's just write future, past, present, for instance. Okay, so future, past. Okay, I'm writing it the wrong way. Future, past, and present. Okay. Present should be in the middle. Past should be behind. Future should be in front. Okay. Now, the reason I wrote this is because what's generally speaking would give the highest would what's the word would amplify someone's fear the most? Is it future, present, or past? Now we can take it in different generations, but let's go with just now, right? What will people be more afraid of in this generation? The past, the present, or the future? Well, like it depends. What dimension are they fearing, right? Is it a physical thing? Is it a threat? Right? Oh, fear is always attributed to threat. Something has to be a threat in order for you to fear it. Or something could present itself as a threat, or your mind could like label something as a threat and you can fear based on those things. Okay? So, first things first, an actual threat, right? Let's distinguish them. And this is going to be separate from whatever this is up here. Okay, so you're just going to split that, right? Let's distinguish them. Okay, let's go. So, an actual threat. So, right? This is like genuine, like fear-inducing things that are literally you need to run. Okay, right? Something that presents itself as a threat, right? Okay. Something that presents itself as a threat, and also what else? The mind. Labeling something as a threat. Right. Okay, so an actual threat, something that presents itself as a threat, and the mind labeling something as a threat. Okay, let's extrapolate further. All right, what can we say these are? Let's say we'll give two examples for each. Okay, so we'll label this one as the most eminent. We'll label this one as the Actually, what would be worse, this or this? I think this can actually be a subset of this. And this can also be a subset of this. So honestly gonna put blue around this because I don't know. And then this one is just going to be less terrifying than the first one. Right. There's no green. Okay, so give two examples. Right. An actual threat, okay, would be wild animal, like dangerous wild animal with bloodlust, aiming for you. Right. And another one could be um so like basically the same thing, like somebody holding a gun to your head, right? So okay, let's put that in just one pile. Um oh let's put that in one pile. We'll say um life life threatening situation. Right? That's one. And what's another one? It's another one that's an actual threat. And then, because like starvation, all this, these are all life threatening situations. So, what's another one that's a threat? It's not life threatening, but I think a threat is just, well, how can I say threat and say, give an example and just say this? Well, you can give multiple examples about these ones. So, I would actually just leave that with one example. Just life threatening situations. Those are actual threats, right? Now, something that presents itself as a threat, like for instance, something that could be presented as a life threatening situation that could make someone be afraid, but isn't as, but isn't basically. What could this be? Um, Actually, I kind of found one for this. Heartbreak. That might be, but I'll learn. I think so. And something that presents itself as a threat. Um, Something that presents itself as a threat. I think I'm going a lot of different ways with how I'm thinking about this. Because for one, I'm thinking about it in like a deep way, and for another, I'm thinking about it in like um, like on average, like a regular way, you know. So I kind of have to give it not more thought, but be more consistent with how I'm sort of framing this. So, what would be something that presents itself as a threat? What would that be? What would that be? Mm-hmm. Failure. Yeah. Right. I said two for each, but I did one. Probably another one for something that presents itself as a threat. If I said failure, I could have said loss, heartbreak, and this. But this I think is more of a mental thing. But I think this also heartbreak also genuinely has a physiological effect too. But I think I overheard it one time somewhere in the past a while ago, but I haven't really did any more further research on it. So this is how I think, right? And everybody has how they think about things. But for me personally, I want to see how my head works with sort of different subjects, and then I guess be a well, you can never know if I'm sort of trying my best to look a certain way or think a certain way to make sort of the approach that I'm using stand out to fit what I want this to look like. So you're gonna have to trust me when I'm saying this is just genuinely how I think about things. If I'm truly trying to think. So it's gonna be hard to convince about that, but yeah, this is just have to take my word for it. This is literally just how I approach sort of any topic, right? Obviously this happens like very quickly in my head, right? But this is how I'll do it if I was told, okay, no research, just write, let's say, an answer on this thing. Just write as much as you know on this, and I could just keep going into multiple tangents, different places, and if I have more time, then I can try sort of, I guess, arrange them properly, right? So yeah, this is genuinely how I think. So if I was to add another one for something presenting itself as a threat, I was gonna say loss. Well, failure is there. I think I just repeated myself. Anyway, yeah. Also, heartbreak. I heard somewhere. I think in a video, probably YouTube, because I spent so long on that. That heartbreak genuinely has a physiological effect on human beings. Now, I'll be another one about the mind labeling something as a threat. What about regret? Regret can also be attributed as a subset of failure. But I would say that's more about the mind because regret is a. How would regret be a threat? Let's think about it. How would regret be a threat? It would be a threat meaning that you wouldn't want to try again, right? But that's also, yeah, I would say regret. Okay, I'll just put regret there. All right. No. Right, regret. Okay. Okay, an actual threat, right? And these, like, let me actually clarify the difference in actual threat and this. An actual threat is something that genuinely does sort of, I guess, exactly like life threatening harm to you, right? But mind labeling itself as a threat would be something that hurt, right? But it's not life threatening, you know? But something that can change how you sort of what you do, right? And something that presents itself as a threat is something that actually they might be interchangeable. Failure can also be here as well. But this is more yeah, actually, something that presents itself as a threat and mind labeling something as a threat could and this could be like a like it could also be like more simple, like a rival. It doesn't. This doesn't have to. And listen, now, yes, that's where we're going with this. We're going into things that would make somebody scared, right? So, failure and rival could be like being afraid that whoever this wins, or an opponent instead. Let me say opponent instead of rival, because rival is more, sort of productive. Is a productive counterpart to whatever you're doing. So I'll say an opponent, because an opponent is literally opposition. So like they're just anyway. Opponent, right? So you're who you're up against. Okay, now all of this is attributed to fear. Right? All of that's attributed to fear. Let me get this out the way. Right, all of this. Okay. So, actual threat, something presents itself as a threat. Mind labeling something as a threat. And if you go from that, you go to like, I'll give it like 1 to 3. Oh no, I'll just go from 1 to however it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5. Okay, so we just 1 to 5. Let's see what it is. Okay, so this will be 1 on like a fear scale. What would be 2? 2. Heartbreak, regret, the fear of regret. Fear of an opponent. I mean, the fear of an opponent is in that it can be more like exactly productive. Like it can be fuel for you to do sort of a productive action. But regret is no, yeah. I'll say 3 and I'll say 4 and 5. I don't want to put heartbreak that low, but this is what I have. Okay. Now, future can just go straight to future, right? I can just put that straight to future. There's pen. Right, opponents can be more present or future. Regrets would be past. Heartbreak would be future. Future, present, and past would be all 3. Future, present, and past. Now, I think just solely due to that, right? Solely due to that, I think I'll give it more, and I'll use I'll use the colors to make it like better. I'll just go back. Oh, all right. Let's see. So, future fear of failure is something that's gonna happen in the future. Fear of an opponent is more presence. And fear of heartbreak is all 3. So I'm actually gonna put heartbreak at. No, I'm gonna leave it at 4. I'll leave my initial one. Regret is past. And then life-threatening situation can be present and future. Right. So this is the diagram of fear. Right. That's the fear diagram. That's in my head. You could always over extrapolate, but if you have like a time limit, which I'm giving myself, I guess, an hour to really figure things out, then you get there. Now, fear is broad, right? It's broad that it actually matters in terms of actual threat. But what are you supposed to do? Are you supposed to suppress or let fear consume you. When are you supposed to let fear consume you? In any of these situations, right? It would should only and only be for one, because then you actually get, I guess, extra energy for flight, right? But it depends on your reaction though. How do you react to fear? Because fear can create different types of reactions, right? So if in this scenario any reaction you get is other than flight, then don't fall back in fear, right? Because fear actually can help some people anticipate and make better decisions, right? But I mean, you can't not be scared in a life threatening situation. Everybody, it's like it's involuntary, right? But the thing is, your decision to suppress it or let it consume you. Actually, let's put that back. Okay, suppression of fear. All right, I'll write it here. Mm, or mm, okay, suppression of fear or fear consuming. Right. Which one? How do you how do you know what's the right decision to make and when? I think that's where it's gonna go. I think it's gonna go to how to, because this wasn't like a statement. This was just fear. So we're literally using a flipping, is it telescope or microscope? Using a microscope and really like zooming in on fear to really see all its parts. So it can be suppressed or it can be consuming. Obviously, in some other instances, harder and easier. But there's always a threshold, right, of how hard it is to suppress your fear, right? I think the harder part is always suppression, and the higher the stakes, the less able you are to suppress fear in different situations, right? But to be honest, if I was gonna have a general statement for fear, I would say it is something that is involuntary, right? It happens at situations where the mind considers some particular action, thing, or whatever a threat, right? To some things, they're actual threats. To others, why do I always get a phone call when I'm streaming? Um, right? To, to some things, they're labeled correctly, and to others, they're just presenting themselves as threats, like failure or an opponent. Obviously, the small bit of fear, like I guess the kind of rush sensation that a little bit of fear can give you, can actually be sort of productive, right, in helping you gain that extra edge or getting that extra bit of energy, like in times of life situations where you are more calculated in how you plan to, I guess, escape or get out without losing your life because that's your last decision, right? But in aspects of heartbreak and regret, there's fear there, but that fear is just destructive, right? Because it makes you see things through a narrower lens. You regret something, right? So you're scared to do. Hmm. Actually, what would be regret? Because that one just kind of stunned me. How do you fear regret? How can you fear regret? And where did I position that? Is it that's the past? How are you scared of the past? Can you scared? Can you be scared of the past? What would someone do if they're afraid of an action they made before? No, I think I'm gonna get rid of regret. How do you fear the past? You don't fear, but there's a different emotion than regret. Well, regret is the emotion, right? It's an emotion in and of itself. Yeah, I think it is. Regret is an emotion in and of itself, but it's close to fear because I think regret does something that makes you afraid of decisions you might make moving forward, but that's more of failure, right? So yeah, we can get rid of regret. We'll get rid of regret. And it's not rolling out fully. That's annoying. Oh, okay. Calm. Right, we'll get rid of regret. Okay. Now I'll make those better. So listen this. So we'll say 3, 4. Right? Right? Everyone's still following? We are following? I said a statement, but I can't even remember where that was going. Um, but but fear is right. Generally speaking, not generally, but like more definitively speaking, a negative emotion. It's a negative emotion. It means when you're scared, that means there's something wrong. So it's a negative emotion, right? So generally speaking, when you're scared, it's obviously a signal to something, but that something can be in your mind, right? Your mind can label something as threatening, but it's not really. With the likes of failure, right? Failure is threatening because it can bring out something, but being afraid to even start is is I would say there's an extent to fear, and the fear of failure is something that limits, I guess, the human potential because you're so comfortable with all these other potentials because every single person have has like high potential in multiple areas, but what you're supposed to do is pick one, stick with it, get very very good, and then continuously succeed. But if you the fear becomes when somebody understands his potential in different aspects, but instead of trying to do one thing and sort of removing that, oh, that becomes the fear of regret. The fear of going into one thing, not succeeding, and also the fear of failure, and then regretting picking that option. So maybe regret could have stayed on, but like you already took it off, right? So everybody has a certain amount of potential, right? But that potential, if it's not actualized, it just leads to regret, right? And it's just the constant fear of regret. Ooh, okay, so regret wasn't bad. That makes people don't not take the risk trying trying something because they're leaving other things behind. So you have like if you're moving forward, you genuinely have to leave other things in the past. You have to leave it behind. You can't bring everything with you. You just can't. You have to leave some things and then just keep growing, right? You have to. But fear is the emotion that, I guess, reduces a person's ability to innovate, right? And innovation doesn't mean like building a new technology. It genuinely means just doing the human thing and creating something new for yourself, right? Creating a new way of thinking, right? Creating a new way of, I guess, view, or like switching perspectives, creating a new way to view something. And that could also even be like when you have the fear of the mind, you can sort of switch perspectives and say, okay, if I'm afraid of this in my position, how would I feel if I was someone who had my exact same fears but just a little bit less fortunate? If you switch it in that perspective rather than comparison to people in a better situation, then the fear becomes less. It becomes less something. It becomes less of a burden. You begin to see that the burden doesn't lie with something particular. It's just like fictional, right? You just made it up. It's just the mind labeling something as a threat, right? So, fear, it's a negative emotion, but a necessary emotion because it signals to something that needs to be at least questioned or looked at. It points you to say, okay, there's something wrong. But generally speaking, it's the decisions you make after that emotion of fear comes out that is the most important. Who are you after you're afraid? Are you the person that's afraid and jumps on the opportunity to overcome fear? Or the person that's afraid and allows fear to consume them? So that's the split, I think. It's a game of suppression or consumption. How you handle moments after fear, or moments in fear, or consistent like springing up or fear to a particular something. It's like you're getting constant signals about something specific, and you can actually sort of brush it to the side. But whenever that emotion comes, you genuinely need to tackle it and pick either suppression or consumption. But the better choice is always to suppress it. Because if fear consumes you, it puts you in a disadvantageous position because it is literally a negative emotion. I'm just going to say that. Right? So, I've said this. I'm not going to remember everything I said verbatim. Now, what I'm going to do is write a statement on fear. And then we're going to search it up. What it means, firstly, see how wrong I was. And also compare. Right? Trust me, we're gonna talk about topics that is I'm gonna be way off. Even this probably like way off. So we'll see. That's what I'm trying to do here. And I'm always gonna keep saying that's what I'm trying to do here because it literally is. I'm literally just giving myself space and time to just think about different things. Because I need to know that I'm capable of it. Right? Everybody is. And there's no special sauce to me. Actually, there's nothing. It's just I think therefore I am. Right? So never stop thinking. Never stop thinking and doing. Right? It's the thought first, then the action. Is the idea, then the outcome. In my opinion. So if I can give myself a digital assets of me thinking about different topics, then I can be inspired in the future and take something and try it. Okay, let's come up with a statement. Should I just say fear or what is fear? I think I'll go what is fear, it's better. Okay. And for the statement. Fear is a negative emotion. It comes involved. It comes involuntarily to the human psyche. Ugh. In order to signal a particular problem. Okay. All right. So I'll say the moments after said fear is said signal is sent. Is the most important as fear to make choice in order to press it or allow it to consume. Right. Okay, let me think. So fear is a negative emotion. It comes involuntarily to the human psyche in order to signal a particular problem. The moments after said signal is set. The said signal is the most important. Or I would just say is most important. As fears and opportunities to make the correct choice in order to suppress it or allow it to consume. Right. Some signals are valid. Okay, wait. Some signals are valid. The moments after said signal is most important as fears and opportunities to make the correct choice in order to suppress it, allow it to consume. Okay, that's what I have so far. Right, fear is a negative emotion. It comes involuntarily to the human psyche in order to signal a particular problem. Some signals are valid while some are not. Moments after said signal is the most important, as fear is an opportunity to make the correct choice in order to suppress it or allow it to consume. And there you go. That's my very short answer on what is fear. Okay, now let's see how valid this is. Okay, let's go here. And then, what is fear? Fear is an unpleasant emotion caused by threat of danger, pain, or harm. It's not. I mean, yeah. Let me see what. Let me just see an article. Right. Okay. The Polkman Universal Emotions. Fear defining a meaning. The psychology of fear. Fear is one of the 7 universal emotions experienced by everyone around the world. Fear arises as a threat of harm, either physical, emotional, or psychological, real or imagined. Real or imagined. Yup. While traditionally considered a negative emotion, okay, fear actually serves an important role in keeping us safe, as it mobilizes us to cope with potential danger. Right. Okay. So what did I say? I said moments after the set signal, but I mean I refer to it as a signal. So, but I did have a strong say that it's a negative emotion, right? But here it's like traditionally was said to be like a negative emotion. It actually serves an important role in keeping us safe. Well, yeah. Okay. Family of fearful experiences can be distinguished in terms of 3 factors: intensity, timing, coping. Okay, so this would be like moments after timing. Oh, I never said that. And intensity. I think I touched on that, but I didn't put that in my final statement. What makes us fearful? The universal trigger for fear is a threat of harm, real or imagined. This threat can be for or can be for our physical, emotional, psychological well-being. While there are certain things that trigger fear, in most of us, we can learn to become afraid of nearly anything. Yeah, that's the thing, right? You can be afraid of nearly everything, but that doesn't mean everything shouldn't be. That doesn't mean nothing should scare you, you know. But that emotion comes. It's a signaling to us something. But then it's up to you to notice that and notice the right decision to make after. So that's the thing. Obviously, I can't touch on like every single area I want to, but I think moving on, we will come back to things that we discuss. We will, and then we'll maybe not just like extrapolate further, but bring them together. You know, and that's kind of where I'm looking to go. I'm looking to just jumble and tumble everything and make something cool. Right? That's it. So yeah, you know. Before I actually leave, I'm probably just gonna put this in the Discord, and then I'm gonna put everything else as well. All right. Don't forget, this is my Discord. My Discord. Don't switch. It's foreign. I don't know if I actually don't know how to shut it out. It's just foreign. Okay, let me put this here. Create category. Or add topic. Channel name. It's interesting topics. I'll go emotions. Create channel. Then I'll go. Oh, what the flip? Delete. Form. Go. Emotions. Create channel. I'll go new post. Then I'll say, what is... No, I'll just say fear. Fear. And then I'll literally just write exactly what I wrote here. Oh, and there you go. That's it. And post. That's me. And now in the future, when I'm more well read, I'll literally talk about topics that just hit home, like things I really want to know, understand, and write about in the future. But I don't just want to translate information through words and I want to do things. I want to illustrate them. So we'll see where content creation, how far I can take content creation and how well I can do it. But we'll see, right? And yeah, it's been foreign. Keep forgetting. Peace.